get to the meat and potatoes of this, the call up potentially. We've all watched the Kings, so LaFerrier's game. I think we should start there with: do we think it's warrant of him being maybe sent down for a little space, and then we can talk about the players and maybe who do you think that can plug in the lineup. Joe, I'm gonna hit you first there. LaFerrier's game. We all loved it to start the season. What have you seen the last couple of weeks? And do you think it's warrant of a shutdown? Obviously, everybody go read his article because his article just talked about this, hockeyroyalty.com. Joe's a fantastic writer. But kind of explain to the people that weren't able to get to the website, shame on you, and we get going on this.
So what I've seen so far from Laferriere, you look at the first handful of games, he was, everybody was just adoring everything that he was bringing to the table, and rightfully so. Look at the last 7 games, he's still shooting the puck. He leads the team in 5-on-5 Corsi 4 per 60. So he is still shooting the puck, or at least on ice. However, his high danger, his scoring chances, he's not getting to the areas where he needs to get to, which is a little interesting because you've got Pierre-Luc Dubois and Kevin Fiala, 2 of the leaders on the team in terms of slot passes. So for whatever reason, but again, I think this goes back to that line, just something was off with that line. It got to a point where just something wasn't clicking. So, and as you mentioned, Brandon, I allude to it in the article that I still think Laferriere, so I think Laferriere should stay. I do not think he should go down. My reason is this. First of all, you brought him and he made the team for a reason. He was doing enough right to make the team for a reason out of camp. If you send him down at the first sign of struggle, that's a poor message. You now have to let this player adjust. He's a young player. He started off hot. He played really well coming out of the gate. That's great. Of course, there's going to be an adjustment period here, right? This is his first time in the NHL. Teams are going to adjust to him. Teams are scouting him. Teams are scouting that line. They're going to learn how to play against him. You have to give him the opportunity. This is my opinion. I don't know. Maybe you don't have to. I say you have to. Give him the opportunity to adjust back. Figure out what he's got to do next to adjust to that. Because if the first move is at the sign of struggle, you're sending him to the AHL, I don't understand what that message is. So I actually don't agree right now. Maybe later in the season. I don't think it's right now.
Yeah, I mean, me personally, I think you should stay too. I mean, the whole thing and the hype, especially most of it coming from me, is I was just happy that he even just made the team. My expectations once he made the team, I'm not expecting Laffy to be a point per game player, let alone even a half a point per game player. That's not what he's here to be. It was just exciting just to see him be on the team. I don't think it's gotten to the point where Laferriere his play is hurting the team at all. I think he's still pretty solid in terms of help this team win games. Can there be an upgrade there? Yeah, I think so. But we're talking about a player who's come out of college straight in the college ranks where you're playing maybe two games a week, maybe mostly on the weekends. And now you're playing in the NHL where you're traveling. You're playing back-to-backs. You're playing 3-4 games in a week. So that's an adjustment period for him. I don't think it's like I said, I don't think it's got to the point where you need to send Laferriere down and just bring somebody up. I mean, who are you going to bring up? You're going to put Alex Turcotte in the wing position? It seems like this organization is really set on keeping Alex Turcotte in the center ice position. So you transition him to the wing. Yeah, that could work, but I don't know. I feel like if you're just going to do that, then all of a sudden you're giving Turcotte 9-10 minutes a game where he's getting 18-20 minutes plus playing for the Reign. I think Laferriere should stay for right now for the time being. And maybe you will see if there's some adjustments that he can make with some new line mates. Hey, if he keeps going down this road where he's not maybe producing as much as you want to see or some people want to see, then sure, I'd be totally up for a change. But for right now, I think Laferriere is just doing what he should be doing. I think he should be playing some good quality minutes, playing good two-way hockey. He's not putting the puck in the net, but he's still contributing here and there. So
want another solid 10 games at least for Laferriere with a new line and a different line situation before I really am going to pull the trigger on sending him down. Could you sell me on sitting the kid in the press box? I don't know how often or what guys, maybe certain guys get things out of that. I don't know if I totally subscribe to that, but I keep going back to he made the team and you're going to send him down after a month because he had a not even a bad start. He had a great start. He's had a bad handful of games. I don't get it. I'm not.
It's been what 4 or 5 games that we're talking.
There was the road trip.
I think we got to show a little bit more.
The whole line
restraint here.
The line seemed to go sour on the road trip.
Exactly. It's not like the focus isn't on Laferriere's problems
shouldn't
right
be.
now.
Yeah,
It's
the line.
on Dubois and Fiala. Like those are the names that are coming up in terms of we need to get those two players going. We don't need to get Laferriere going. And it
Right.
shouldn't be Laferriere that's driving play. It should be Dubois
Correct.
and Fiala. Those should be
But
players.
that's where the money's going.
Exactly.
That's why they're the focus, but doesn't mean that Laferriere can't play better or shouldn't play player or isn't even worthy of a lineup spot at the moment. You have
100%.
Jad, who hasn't played one single game, I don't believe, to my knowledge.
But I think the assumption that we'll just send Laferriere down and bring up Turcotte. What does that mean? How does that automatically make things better? Like Turcotte doesn't exactly have a long run here. I would bring Turcotte up. I think he deserves to be up. Wouldn't be for Laferriere, in my opinion, but that's a story for a different day. I don't think you got to let him adjust out of this. You have to let him work through this. If after another 10 games or so, he's really, really struggling and he can't find his game, then maybe the time is to send him down. I just don't think it's the first sign of trouble. I think that's a poor message.
What it is, but like to say that, I guess I'm just a fan of playing devil's advocate. To say that it's like, okay, let's just wait and see. That's not a game plan for me. Like not to put any urgency on his game isn't a game plan for me, because this season isn't a season to let him marinate. This season is to win hockey games. And if we're not doing that consistently, or if he's not helping in doing that consistently, then we need to move on.
Fair.